Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be ranking NFL quarterbacks for the 2024 NFL season, and let's get this video started. So instantly we have Tua Tagovailoa. He just got paid a ton of money as of the time of this video. It's the end of July, so I think he's okay. He's not worth 55 million a year. He's definitely not worth that much. He's okay. He's a solid player. He's not anything too special. I'll put him in the B tier to start this video out. Next up, we got Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, he's okay. He made the playoffs. But he's huge turnover problem. Touchdown interception ratio isn't that good at all. But he is not awful either. I'll put him in the B tier as well. Next, for some reason, Trey Lance is on this list. Automatic F tier. He's a huge bust. He's not even the backup on his own team, so he shouldn't even be on this list. Next up, we got Derek Carr. Derek Carr, I'll put him in the D tier. He's usually like, before last year, I put him in like the C or B tier, but last year he was really bad and he kept getting injured too, so he wasn't good at all. Sam Darnold, I'll put in the D tier because he is a starter. I mean, he has a lot of NFL experience, so he's not awful, but he's not that good either. He's definitely not anything higher than a D tier in my opinion. Next will be Kyler Murray, and he's very interesting. So Kyler Murray, a lot of people think he could be like down here in the C or D. I think personally he's probably a B, because he is so dynamic when he's on the field. He always does very well. And personally, I think he could possibly be a top 10 QB going into next year. Next up on the list is Zach Wilson, F tier. Huge bust with the Jets. Really bad. Really bad. He couldn't do anything with all the weapons around him. So, very bad. He's probably the worst quarterback on this entire list. Next up, we got Josh Allen. Josh Allen will go in the A tier, not S, but definitely A tier. He has proven that he go toe-to-toe with any quarterback in the entire league. He is very proven, very talented. It's just that his team in the playoffs just hasn't been doing him good, and it's very unfortunate to see what's happening to him. And C.J. Stroud, I'll put him in A tier as well. Honestly, I don't know. I think maybe after this year I'll put him in the A tier, but he had one really good year. I'll just put him in the B tier. He hasn't proven that much yet. He did win a playoff game and Offensive Rookie of the Year, but he still has to make a huge leap to go into the A or S tier. It's reserved for really great quarterbacks. Next on the list, we got Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's going to go in the B tier as well. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the B tier, in my opinion. I think that Dak Prescott is a very solid quarterback, not MVP worthy, not Super Bowl winner worthy, but he's a very solid quarterback. I think he's a little overrated, but he's still definitely not a bad quarterback, not a bad option at all. Next up, we got Baker Mayfield. I'll put Baker Mayfield in the C tier. He was very good with the Browns for a little while. Then he had a couple really bad years. And then with the Panthers and Rams the year before this year, he wasn't that good either. But this year with the Buccaneers, he played a lot better. So I would have put him in the D or F tier. But because of last year, he's going up to the C tier. He's okay. He's not awful. He's decent. He's not the worst thing in the world. Automatically, these rookies, I don't have a rating for them. I'm putting them all in the D tier just because they can't. I personally they shouldn't go above anyone else besides the guys that are proven to be really bad. So I'm just gonna put all the rookies in the D tier whenever we come past him. So Caleb Williams, he could easily be in the B tier after this year, but for now he's just got to be D tier by default. Next up, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is very interesting because you would think he'd be in the A tier, but he's also had to deal with some very interesting coaching, and he's had some really good weapons around him, and he still hasn't really done much. It's not really his fault, to be honest, but I think he's going to be in the very high B tier. I put him in the very high B tier. He's almost an A. He could definitely be an A after this year if he proves with the weapons around him that he could be very good, but for now he's just going to be in the B tier. Next up, we got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I'll put him in the A tier automatically just because he's Aaron Rodgers. He's a top 5 quarterback of all time in my opinion. And he is very good. He's very dominant. He knows how the offensive line works. He knows how the receivers function. He knows how defenses work. He has the most experience among any guys on this list. So automatically he should go in the A tier no matter what. Mac Jones, F tier. Once again, just like these other two, busted in the 2021 draft class. Not good. He got traded by the Patriots to the Jaguars for a 6th-round pick. So honestly, he wasn't obviously good at all. Not even a backup worthy, to be honest. Next up, we got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I think, is a mix between the B and A tier because I think he should go in the A tier. He did lead his team to a Super Bowl appearance. He unfortunately lost to the Chiefs, but to be frank, he played really well in that game. They scored a lot of points. Their defense wasn't that good, so I'm gonna leave him in the A tier. He deserves to be up there. Kirk Cousins, I'll put him in the B tier. I would put him in the A tier, but he hasn't proven much in the playoffs, so he's got to go in the B tier. He's a very solid quarterback. Nothing too special, obviously, but he's still a decent quarterback. Lamar Jackson, I'm putting him in A tier. 2 MVPs, very solid. But the only thing holding him back from S tier is that he hasn't even made a Super Bowl. He's choked a lot in the playoffs against really good defenses and really good teams. So I think A is an appropriate spot. Once he does at least make a Super Bowl, he will go into S tier. But for now, A tier is the most appropriate. Next, we got Anthony Richardson. So he got injured midway through last year, so I can't really give a good grade on him. So he's automatically going in the D tier. Kenny Pickett, he is getting an F. He was a bust in Pittsburgh. He's going to be the backup for the Eagles, and he's not that good. Michael Penix Jr., automatically D tier. He's a rookie as well. Drake May, rookie as well, D tier. These guys could definitely be very good. Michael Penix is going to have to wait a while, but Drake May could be in the C or B tier after this year as well, but it's just, rookies. You can't grade them yet. Next up, we got Joe Flacco. If it was any time before last year when he won Comeback Player of the Year, I would put him in F. But I'm going to put him in very low D tier because he's not awful. He's a solid backup. He's not obviously starter worthy. He's okay. As in the playoffs, he got exposed because he's not that good anymore. But he used to be okay, and he's still a decent backup. I just wouldn't trust him starting. Next up, we got Drew Lock. I'm gonna put him in the F tier simply because he hasn't proven anything. He's been in the league for almost 5 years, I think, or it's gonna be his 6th season, I think. So I think that he is not appropriate to be any higher than F tier as he has barely started in the league and he's been benched for multiple other guys. So we got Bryce Young. Too early to tell. I'm going to put him in the D tier, I think, because his rookie year wasn't great at all, but I think that he will definitely improve with the new additions to the team and as well as having more experience. His first year, his team was just awful last year, so I got to give him a benefit of the doubt. F tier isn't a good spot for him. I would put him in the D tier. Now, Deshaun Watson is a very interesting case because he should be in the B or A tier by now, but he regressed so bad in the past couple of years as well as missing an entire year because of the allegations. So he's gonna have to go in the C tier. Very talented. It's just that he hasn't proven anything since he joined the Browns. Will Levis, he actually was decent. He was solid last year, but I don't think I should put him above Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson quite yet. He should go in the D tier. These guys haven't proven much, but after this year is when you could actually start giving them solid ratings and stuff. Daniel Jones, I would put him in the F tier, but he's very, very below average, but he's not awful. He's not awful, so I would put him in the D tier. He did lead his team to a playoff win, so he's obviously not awful, but he's still not great at all. He's definitely not worth $40 million a year at all. Now we got Brock Purdy. Very interesting case because you can make the case for Brock Purdy being in the C tier. You can make him for being in the B tier. I think he has had very, very insane weapons throughout his career so far with the 49ers. So it's kind of hard to judge. I'm going to put him in the C tier though because even though he did make a Super Bowl, he still hasn't done too much great. And he has been bailed by his team in my opinion. If you have Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and even more, the Trent Williams on your left tackle spot, you should be a really good quarterback. So I'm just going to put him in the C tier. If he goes on a really bad team in a couple years and he still lights it up, he's definitely going in the A tier or so. But for now, it's just C tier because he hasn't proven much either. Jameis Winston, by default, I think he should go in the F tier just because he was drafted by the Bucs. He didn't do good at all. And now he's kind of been a journeyman quarterback, and he definitely did not live up to the number 1 overall pick hype. He's not awful backup quarterback by any means. He's okay, but it's not number 1 overall pick worthy. Now, as we know, first S tier, Patrick Mahomes, probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time already, and he's barely been in the league. He's only been in the league for like 8 years, but he is a dominant back-to-back Super Bowls. He won the MVP 2 years ago. He's insane. Automatic S tier. No doubt, no question. Once again, we got Jane Daniels, another rookie, automatic D tier. All the rookies D tier, as we know. Matthew Stafford, I'll put him in B tier. He did win a Super Bowl a couple years back. He's a very solid quarterback, a very underrated quarterback in my opinion. He's been good for a really long time, but I think B tier is just appropriate since A tier is reserved for really good quarterbacks. But I don't think Matthew Stafford is that good now in 2024, but he's still a solid quarterback. Now, Russell Wilson, very interesting, obviously. as kind of like with Deshaun Watson, he used to be very good. He would be in like the A tier, but the past couple years with the Broncos, he did not play well. I mean, last year his stats weren't bad at all, but the year before that he was really bad with Nathaniel Hackett, and his team has not been successful at all with him under the helm. So I'm gonna have to put him in C tier, as he hasn't really proven much at all since joining the Broncos. Now we got Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, journeyman backup quarterback. He's a 6th-round pick though. He has proved himself to be a very good backup quarterback. He almost led his team to the playoffs last year. If it weren't for that guy dropping the ball, I forgot who it was, but he's gonna go in the D tier. The Colts guy. Gardner Minshew is very underrated. I think he's a top tier backup quarterback. Now we got Jared Goff. Interesting, Jared Goff. I'm gonna put him in the B tier with Matthew Stafford. I think they're pretty similar in level. I think the Jared Goff Matthew Stafford trade was awesome for the Lions, as they got a ton of draft capital and they got a decent quarterback, because everyone thought Jared Goff was just going to be like another bridge quarterback, but he ended up being a very good quarterback, and now he's getting paid $50 million a year. So good for him. You know what I'm saying? And now we got Sam Howell. Sam Howell F tier. He was very bad with the Commanders, even though it wasn't really his fault. But I don't think he has a lot of potential, to be honest. I think he wasn't that good of a quarterback to begin with. Justin Fields, I'm going to put him in the D tier. I'm not going to put him in the F tier with the rest of the 2021 quarterbacks, but I think he has potential to be okay. He wasn't awful, but he still wasn't great at all. D tier is an appropriate spot. He's a backup quarterback to Russell Wilson, who's in the C tier, so he doesn't deserve to be on the same tier as him, in my opinion, so I think D tier is okay. And Aiden O'Connell, I think it's rough for him, because I'm just going to put him in the D tier because he will start, but I think he's going to be out in a couple of years. After this year, he might just be out, because the Raiders, in my opinion, are going to be a bad team, so I think they're probably going to draft the quarterback somewhere, and I think he's just going to be forgotten and be in the backup quarterback ring. So now we got Jordan Love. Jordan Love, very interesting. So he obviously had a very good second half of last year, but the first half he wasn't really good at all. But he definitely proved that he's okay, because he got paid $55 million a year. So I think it's kind of tough, because C tier, I don't think he deserves to be on the same level as like Russ, but I don't think he deserves to be on the same level as guys like Kyler Murray or Tua. So I'm just gonna put him. I think I'll put him in A tier, or B tier. I'm sorry, I'll put him in low B tier, and he is a lot of potential, but he could also definitely fall down the list. So nothing guaranteed about Jordan Love. Next year will be the true test. We'll truly see how good of a quarterback Jordan Love really is after next year. Now we go to Geno Smith. So Geno Smith, before he got the starting job on the Seahawks, he used to be a journeyman backup quarterback, starting quarterback with the Jets a really long time ago. But he was really bad. F tier. He would be in the F tier. But past couple of years he's been okay. So I'm gonna put him in the C tier. He's okay. He's nothing special. He's not gonna be the Seahawks long-term quarterback. He's okay. Now Joe Burrow, I'm gonna put him in the S tier. I think he is very talented when he's on the field. Obviously, he's been hurt a little bit, but I think he is the most talented quarterback besides Patrick Mahomes. He's gone toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes before. He's the only quarterback that's still in the league to have beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. So I think that Joe Burrow, it deserves to be an S tier with Patrick Mahomes. And the Bengals could definitely win a Super Bowl whenever he's in the league, Joe Burrow. Whenever Joe Burrow's healthy and on the team, I think the Bengals have a good shot to win every single year. So next up, this is Bo Nix, so I'm putting him in the D tier. Rookie, hasn't proven anything yet. J.J. McCarthy, I'm also putting him in the D tier. Also, he has not proven anything yet, so he doesn't deserve to be ranked. He's also backing up Sam Darnold currently, so D tier is fine. And then this is Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder goes in the F tier. He had a ton of weapons with him in Atlanta, and he was really bad. He didn't do much at all on offense, and his team got rid of him as soon as they could. This is the final ranking, and I think that this is a very good list. And as the season goes on, this list will definitely 100% change. I'll probably make another one midway through the year, and then maybe one after the year, and we'll see how these guys stack up again. But I just think that this is a really good list. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that there's a lot of D-tier quarterbacks. There's not a lot of high-end quarterbacks. A lot of them are all right or okay. I think B-tier has a lot, but I think that's reasonable because a lot of these guys are kind of on the same level. So those are my final comments, and Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.